Hi everyone and good morning from New York, where today we're here at the Bronx Zoo.
Yeah.
This is a zoo I've been going to my entire life. They just opened a new exhibit and I always love coming here and seeing all the animals. This video we're going to show you every exhibit, all the animals, and have a great day here at the zoo. I believe we got to the brown bear enclosure at the right time. There's one right in front of us, and then I love their enclosure here. There's a giant rock where there's one just hanging out on top. The second one looks very, very big up there as well. The brown bears were one of the first ones we saw, and they are definitely looking around, looking to find the treats. One of them was eating a carrot, and that's why they're all so active and running around. We did come back to the brown bears later, and one is relaxed in the pool.
That's how I would be if I was a bear.
There we go. Peacock and a baboon running around. The peacocks, I believe, have free roam at the zoo. And that one's showing off for us. And look at this guy up here with the horns. Those are beautiful, beautiful horns. Molly was surprised that there were rock hyrax, as was I in this enclosure. I'm like, you're never going to be able to find him.
We found him.
Yep. It's got a little rock hyrax-sized hole to go hang out in. Look at the little tongue. These are galatas, the baboon species. Oh, and they are, I don't know, they went tumbling off the rocks there. Better look at one of the big fluffy baboons. Kind of a fun enclosure because you have so many different species of animals. All right, one last galata baboon. As that one's sitting so nicely on top of the hill. I feel like we never get to see the lions when they're awake.
Okay, hop out.
There's two. What a beautiful animal.
James, you're probably tall enough.
They were. We did hear them vocalizing like 10-15 minutes ago.
1, 2.
Just hanging out, looking in different directions. If you were curious what this lion is looking at, I believe it is looking at the next enclosure over, which is home to some Thompson's gazelle, which are little tiny guys. You can see them on the background. Here you can see the Nyalas. Now the Nyalas, you could always tell the females from the males because that is going to be the pack of females, and the males actually don't look much like the females at all. So you can see they're going to be behind the tree a little bit. But yeah, they look like a completely different species. So we saw the Nyalas in a small enclosure over there. There's also more Nyalas over here in a massive enclosure. Let's see, look, try to find one over there. Yeah, this is a really, really big area. And then the Nyalas can look over here and see the lions, who can see the Thompson's gazelle. That is cool. Look, I love how they're just hanging on the sand. These are slender horned gazelle. It's got little curly horns there. Of course, you gotta have some zebras in the African section. This one's having some lunch. I always enjoy when they have the dwarf mongooses. They have a bunch at the zoo. And they are paired up with a smaller species of hornbill. And this is in the giraffe building. Giraffes, I'm guessing, are all outside. You can see the giraffes. Looks like there's 4 out today. And right in the middle, between all the giraffes, is a big old ostrich. The next exhibit is always one I love going to visit, Jungle World in the Wild Asia area. Check out the tree kangaroo. Interestingly, not in a tree.
And awake.
Yeah. Generally, you always prefer to see the animals awake when you're at the zoo, but man, the pose on this Asian small clawed otter taking a nap, that is pretty adorable. No signage here. I think it might be a sailfin lizard. Jungle World has the big big kind of open air areas and then smaller enclosures as well. Up in the tree is a langur. There's actually a pair of them. Let's see if I can get this guy who might be eating. He's hiding, but he can kind of show us his little face. That's the appearance of a giant cloud rat. They look nice and fluffy. I really love the design of the Jungle World area. Here you got waterfalls. And you can look out and see, I think those are Francois langurs. Bit of a smaller one as well. It does get hot here in the Jungle World area, so the Malayan tapir might have the right idea. Hanging out underneath a waterfall. There's an area for insects, and they've got like 3 or 4 different species of walking stick. These guys are moving around, the Vietnamese walking stick. The white-cheeked gibbons posing for the guests. One part of Jungle World, you go outside and you just overlook the Bronx River. Check out the size of this. I think it's a snapping turtle. That's a big guy. No, not a snapping turtle. It's not the right jaw, I don't think. That's a big turtle. Another beautiful room here in Jungle World, and the gharials are posing on a waterfall. One part of the Bronx who I absolutely love is the Wild Asia Bengali Express monorail. This is about a 20-minute long monorail ride right near the Jungle World area of the park, and it takes you to see all sorts of animals that are just in a different section of the Bronx Zoo. And this is a really big ride. In fact, I've been to other zoos that are smaller than the size of the monorail ride at the Bronx Zoo, and this is where you can go see the zoo's elephant. There's also some other really cool species, some that are not super common in North American zoos, so that's a lot of fun. You can see tigers. Molly's favorite part of this experience was one of the goats was standing up on a big tree stump post, and that was quite the sight to see. Heading into the Congo gorilla forest, which is one of the best exhibits areas here at the zoo. First animal you get to is some black and white colobus monkeys in the very back of their enclosure. And grabbing that tree. There you can see an okapi. Molly, one of your favorites.
I do like the copy. They're such cool animals.
The red river hogs are right up close. You see him using that shovel nose to dig through the ground, trying to find some grubs, I believe. The exhibit does go inside for an area about biodiversity. There is a secondary viewing for the red river hogs. And this secondary viewing is inside with air conditioning. That is a very, very relaxed wolf monkey. And of course, the Congo gorilla forest is home to the gorillas. Like the pose on that, the big one up there, hanging out in the tree. I do like the design of this gorilla enclosure. It's kind of like gorillas 270 around, and there's different levels you can stand and watch them on. Yeah, some really cool design on this enclosure. See a lot of my friends over here. These gorillas are right there, just walking right on over. Pretty close to a gorilla.
Oh my gosh, guys, we're right up close. Hey, bestie.
It really is a beautiful, beautiful exhibit. There's another outdoor viewing area for the gorillas. And this very, very relaxed gorilla. Heading into Tiger Mountain. Beautiful tiger. I'd say it's probably more of a hill than a tiger mountain, but they do seem to have a lot of room. There is a whole other half to the tiger enclosure, and something that I'm not used to. The tigers are actually paired up with this large species of fish in their swimming hole, and that would be pretty fun to see a tiger swimming around with these fish. All cuddled together there is a species you don't see in too many zoos. These are paired David's deer. which are from Asia. And there's one looking right at us. Here's another species you don't see in too many zoos. These are dholes, which are Asiatic wild dogs. They're very pretty. They're also big. Like it's more of a wolf body than a dog body. We've got some rock monitors in here. That one's on the move. Until I put the camera on him and then he decides to stop. Cool species. That is a very large Komodo dragon.
Like to see a Komodo dragon?
Man, that's a very big one.
Kids.
Right in the center of the zoo, in that big building in the intro, that is home to the rhinoceroses. Very pretty. This enclosure, I'm pretty sure, has been at the Bronx Zoo for just about forever. Right by the zoo center, you have the sea lions. I believe they do some presentations and feeding with the sea lions. There's one.
No, just feeding time. There they are.
Right by the center of the zoo, there's a pair of alderbrook tortoises. We saw them on our way into the zoo, but they're not out at the minute, and that is the bison. The Bronx Zoo has a great history with the bison. They actually are a big part of saving that species from extinction back in the very early 1900s. So even though I can see the bison, I did want to mention that on the video. One thing I do like about the Bronx Zoo, it is very heavily wooded. So if you're here on a hot day, there is a lot of shade as we head into the Himalayan highlands. I think the snow leopard might have a treat all the way at the back of its enclosure. Well, unfortunately, when you go to the zoo, you can't see them all, and that's our luck. No red panda out today. Up next is the World of Birds. The World of Birds building is really neat. And here we are at the first area of the World of Birds, and this is all dedicated to bee-eating birds. And if you're here at 3 o'clock, there's a bee-eater buffet, which would probably be kind of fun to watch. Here's one you don't see a lot. That is a Melios, like this big turkey-type bird. Interesting, it's not just birds here at the World of Birds. Those are Bolivian titi monkeys. And then a little friend pecking around the river. Lots of adorable smaller birds in this one. There's some finches in here. I really like the coloring. Oh, do you know what this colorful one is here?
Which colorful one?
The one I'm looking at, right here. Red face.
Oh, that's a finch. It is a finch.
Not easy to see, but through the trees there is a chevettoan, which is a mouse deer, and they are very cool. There's also tawny frogmouths in this enclosure. So yeah, even if you're not a bird person, definitely some things you want to come and see in this area of the zoo. I enjoy when you wander through an exhibit like the World of Birds, how different each enclosure is to the next one. This one being much more like the desert. Beautiful bird.
Yeah.
A little tougher to see this enclosure. A lot of these are open air and you can watch the birds. This one does have a curtain down because some of these birds are nesting, and that's better for them. We have made it to the second floor of the World of Birds, to a much larger aviary. See what kind of birds we can find. I kind of enjoy this duck who's hanging out all the way at the top of the enclosure. A giant room here dedicated to the birds of the Amazon. Try to zoom in on a very pretty macaw in the background. See him there. This enclosure is all for birds that are native to the mountains, including the cockatoo. I'm not sure exactly. I think it's a big pheasant that is in the trees. It's see some of the Nicobar pigeons, which are the very, very colorful ones. We are greeted by some ocellated turkeys hanging up here on the ledge. Now, I believe this is a species of turkey that is native to Mexico. Kind of funny, it's kind of like watching people as they come in through those doors.
Surprise!
And there you can see a big hornbill, as well as a glass which has recently been soaked. One of the birds in this enclosure is newer, so to soak up the glass so that the birds, once they get used to the glass being here, they can unsoak the glass. And then look at all the parrots.
And the macaw.
Look at one of the prettiest birds there, a toucan. Sometimes what is old is new again, and that is the case here at the Bronx Zoo. I think about 15 years ago, they closed the World of Darkness exhibit. It was, getting older and needed some upkeep, and I guess they didn't have the money at the time. But this year, in fact, 2 days before I'm recording this, they reopened it with a whole bunch of new enclosures for nocturnal animals, and I am very excited to go check it out. Crawling around down there is a red-rumped agouti, which is a smaller rodent.
Oh, there he is.
There you go. Oh, I missed. Where'd he go? There he is. Molly, how do you think you pronounce that?
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's a species I don't think I've ever seen in a zoo before.
Do you know Cody?
It is whatever that is.
This.
The broad-snouted caiman are very, very active. Just kind of swimming back and forth here. A pair of them. That is awesome. That's a giant cloud rat. Obviously, the footage is not going to be as well in this exhibit because it is very, very dark. It's a lesser galago. Pygmy slow lords. Cool tail here on the northern cocoa missile.
Kind of looks like a raccoon tail.
Yeah, there's a better look at it. It looks very lemur-esque.
It does, it does.
Pretty sure you can't have a nocturnal animal exhibit without bats. It is dinner time for the naked mole rats.
It's like a house cat. It looks like a cat. It looks like a ginger tabby. They look like cats.
The enclosure for the vampire bats is very neat. They have kind of like an outdoor forest area, and then also the bat cave. Crawling around there, that is a New Caledonia giant gecko. And his tail. It is dark in here, but this is really cool. They have a kiwi. And I don't really know of any zoos you can see kiwis at. Heading on into the Children's Zoo. The first section of the Children's Zoo is dedicated to the homes of the different animals. Let's go visit the heron's home. This is pretty neat. It is a small aviary for just herons. You can see one over there using a stick to make its nest. Something I believe they've had through any iteration of the Children's Zoo, at least in my years visiting, has been the prairie dog tunnel, where you can go and poke your head up. Prairie dogs are just the cutest little... Look at that guy. Continuing with the theme of homes, look at the massive nest for the parakeets. A pair of Asian small-clawed river otters. When we went to Jungle World, we saw one that was asleep. Looks like this guy's digging with his little hands. Oh. The next part of the Children's Zoo is about moving around. These are smaller things, so I'm gonna have to crawl in here but it's worth it because there's a little
Una
degu.
serpiente. Un ratonotites.
Well, I could have walked right past this inquisitive goose here. Hey, buddy. Are you an Egyptian goose? I'm not sure. You don't have a sign. It's a pretty good sized aquarium. It's a soft shell turtle. I think I saw a big arapina in the back. Moving along to finding food. One of the most famous animals for finding food, the giant anteater.
That's actually to help them dig.
And the
so they
anteater
can
is
dig out
very,
the
very
bugs
close to the
and
people.
trees and stuff.
You never get this close. Another aquarium, but look at the interesting location on the alligator. Hanging out not in the water, but on some of these branches. That is a cotamundi. This is pretty fun. There is an island for squirrel monkeys. Oh, I think there's a little baby on the back of that one there. There's a better shot of the baby just holding on to the back of mom. And then, not only are there squirrel monkeys, there's also flamingos. And then baby ducks. Time to learn about staying safe. There's actually a sloth that's awake, moving around. So used to seeing sloths sleeping all the time. That is a cavy over there. Getting in a nice stretch there is a rabbit. An adorable, adorable rabbit. Doing the nose thing. Moving along at full tortoise speed. And I will say I'm pretty impressed with this children's zoo. It goes on for a long time and there's lots of awesome animals in here. An area for senses. Big tortoise having a meal. I think it might be an African spur-thighed tortoise, as it enjoys a large salad. Sleeping peacefully is one of Molly's favorites, the fennec fox. They have such big ears they can hear a mouse walking on sand.
It's so cute.
Molly, I was just talking, like the children's zoo is great. It goes on for a long time. I'm shocked there wasn't like the traditional farm petting zoo area.
I think we found it.
I think it's next. And indeed, it is next. Hello, friend. These are zebu cows, and they're awesome. There are some donkeys. I think this might be my favorite part of the children's zoo. There is a giant Thanksgiving turkey just wandering around. This is great. Now he's showing us his feathers. Looks like the sheep are pretty warm. And then we'll go visit our fuzzy-headed pals, the alpacas. One big old tired pig. And Mom was just talking, the children's zoo does have some really good signage for the kiddos. And there's a chicken coop. Time to head into the mouse house. The mouse house off to an exceptional start. Look at the elephant shrew. They are so neat. They have the noses that can move all around. The mouse house has a lot of smaller enclosures, so we won't be able to show you every animal. These guys are zebra mouses. Not filming too much. There's a lot of nocturnal animals in here as well, and those don't film as quite as good. But they're so cute. Getting into the reptile house, and I love some of the old buildings here at the Bronx Zoo. Like, look at that detail with the animals. The Bhutan looks like something out of a monster movie. That is stunning.
It's the next
Yeah.
Godzilla.
The dwarf crocodile is just a little guy. Now, like most reptile houses, there's a lot of smaller enclosures here, so not going to be able to show up every single animal on offer, but oh, the Burmese python is on the move, doing the tongue thing. fly river turtle swimming around. There are some larger enclosures here for some different alligators and crocodiles, including the smaller Chinese alligator. They also have a little tiny Chinese alligator. Cool pose here on the Cayman lizard, but what I'm more interested in, there's one in the water. And whenever I see these guys in a zoo or aquarium, they're never hanging out in the water. It's now swimming like an alligator. This is crawling on the bottom. The American flamingos outside of the Aquatic birdhouse, which is our next destination. The Aquatic birdhouse is one of the older exhibits here at the zoo, but you can still see some really cool animals in here, like checking out the stilt. That is one of my favorite birds. That is a masked lapwing. I love the vibrant colors of all the scarlet ibises. I do like the design of this enclosure where you're looking like eye to eye at the scarlet ibises. You can see them building their nests. Very pretty bird there on the ledge. Flying away was a red-crested Turako. Did not know the Bronx Zoo had the little blue penguins. They're the smallest species of penguins, and they're an animal you don't see in many zoos too. There's maybe like 5 or 6 in the whole country you could see them. They're so adorable. And you might think, oh, these are babies. They're not babies. These are full grown, and they don't get more than, you know, maybe 1.5 feet at most. There's also an enclosure for puffins. Unfortunately, none of them in the water swimming around at the moment. The zoo's home to one of the smallest birds of prey species, the pygmy falcon. I love the pose here on these 2 ducks. They're posted up over the railing so they can see all the people as they walk in. After the aquatic birdhouse, you head into the aquatic bird aviary. These birds with the little mustaches, those are Interns. And the star of the show here at the Seabirds is, of course, the penguins. They have Magellanic penguins, which are the ones that are native to South America. Not seeing too many at the moment. I think there's one in the hiding hole back here. Oh, I got excited. No, that was not a penguin. Let's zoom back in. Zoom back in. Yeah, you can see one all the way in the back there. Now, these are warm weather penguins, so being outside in the heat in the Bronx is no big deal to them. I do love how the Interns, the enclosure has all these holes built into the rockwork form, and that's where a lot of these guys will live. There's a lot of them too. Oh, we've seen the penguins. They're all swimming right by. Kind of a fun enclosure to watch penguins, and they have a lot of room. You can see them pop out of the water at different spots. There's also a lot of different species of birds in here, which I am not used to seeing in a penguin enclosure. Like, sometimes you'll see them with the Inca terns, but I don't think I've ever seen penguins paired up with like seagulls or big giant swans before. Heading into the Madagascar building. This is one of the more modern exhibits at the zoo. Let's see the Nile crocodile a little bit.
I don't
over
know
there.
what my phone is doing. It's playing the things like.
There's a fun room here with kind of like 180-degree projections on it, and then a bunch of smaller enclosures.
He's in the front.
So in this one is a tree boa. Can't find the tree boa, so I'll move on to these fish. Big desert area for lemurs and tortoises. The lemurs are asleep.
Usually they're very
Yeah. But they are pretty cute when they're sleeping over there. The radiated tortoises seem to be all gathered like right underneath the bridge. And then check out this. There's a tree you can walk into for the Madagascar hissing cockroach. Oh man, that is a lot of bugs. Look at these adorable little turtles or tortoises. They're tortoises. It's either a spider tortoise or a baby radiated tortoise. We could zoom in there on the ring-tailed mongoose. We are not having the best luck when it comes to lemurs. The sifaka was sleeping. I don't see any of the ringtails. The red ruffs are asleep. But the exhibit's really well done. I don't think I've ever been this close to a fossa before.
Look at the position.
That is, like, it would kind of be the way, I guess, a weird dog would sleep.
Yeah. I mean, it's catfish.
There is an older bird section for laughing kookaburras and pheasants. Definitely feels like one of the more retro sections of the Bronx Zoo. The golden pheasant here looks like something out of a cartoon. It's vivid color. And this might be the biggest closure I've ever seen for flamingos. I always like when they're like standing in the water like that and they look like they're just like big ducks. There's an area called Nature Trek, which is kind of like a climbing structure area. And I do love how the peacock can just wander around the zoo. This guy's been following us for about 5 minutes now. The carousel here at the Bronx Zoo is very different. It is a bug-themed carousel, so if you ever wanted to go around in circles on a praying mantis, you can do it here. For $5, you can go and feed the budgies. I love this big, beautiful fountain at one of the entrances to the zoo. Also, right by this entrance, during the summer, they do a dinosaur safari with animatronic dinosaurs. In the middle of the zoo is the Dancing Crane Cafe, the main food establishment. And food looks pretty good. Zoo food is notoriously not the best.
Yeah.
We got like a chicken rice bowl with all sorts of toppings on it. I went with my parents on this trip, and my dad got a really good looking sandwich. And Molly, what time is it, by the way?
I think it's beer 30.
Beer 30 indeed. Drinking Too Juicy by Two Roads Brewing out of Stratford, Connecticut. Double hazy IPA. All right, my friends, and that was our day at the Bronx Zoo. Some practical information. It's a very large zoo. Molly, could you look up how many miles we walked in our a little over 6 hours we spent here at this wonderful, wonderful place, seeing all sorts of animals?
Yes, it was 8.33 miles.
Yeah, so it is a hike, and we're not at the car yet. This very well might be 9 o'clock. 9 miles by the time we get out of the car.
We did kind of bypass and kind of backtrack
a little bit.
It probably an extra mile put in.
But I had a great time. Some practical information. It is one of the more expensive zoos in the country. You are in the New York area. It costs about $48 to get in.
Very expensive.
Yeah, and $22 to park your car. Dude, I think I get my money worth. Absolutely. I had an absolute blast.
I do like how everything's included.
Yes.
So you don't have to, oh, no, we can't ride
the monorail or...
Yeah.
All right, now, Molly, this is a tough part. We went to a zoo. We saw lots of cool stuff. Do you have any favorite animals?
I really like the giant anteater.
That was
so close to the people.
Yeah.
You'll never get that.
I think between our two stops, the brown bears might have been my favorite.
Yeah, that was my
We got to see them hunting for food, and then one chilling out in his pool.
I also like the deer on the monorail.
Yeah,
and the monorail experience is very unique. Most zoos have gotten rid of their monorail.
Yeah, I don't know if there's another one in the country that still has a monorail. I know Minnesota's gotten rid of theirs, Dallas has gotten rid of theirs, Miami's gotten rid of theirs, and I mean that monorail ride feels like its own separate zoo. It's that big.
Yeah.
And there's some really great exhibits here. Even their older stuff is really well designed. Like the World of Birds, I believe, was opened in the 70s, and that's a great birdhouse. The Jungle World was opened in the 80s, and that's an incredible zoo exhibit. So they have a history of great design here. And even their more modern stuff as well, things like Madagascar or the Congo gorilla forest, really well done also. All right, that'll do it. If you got any questions about the Bronx Zoo, let me know in the comments section below. And thank you very much for watching this video. If you watched some of our zoo videos before, yeah, you're probably thanks to the Bronx Zoo. This is the zoo I went to growing up as a child. Kind of grew my love for zoos, so this is one I've really enjoyed. And if you like this video, why don't you check out another one of the National Zoo over in Washington, D.C., home to some giant pandas.